Hello, English learners. It's Marcos here, back with another fun story to help you speak English like a pro. Picture this, I'm sitting in my cozy living room, my cat Luna purring by my side, and I'm ready to share a new adventure. Today's story is simple, exciting, and full of easy words to practice like friend, laugh, and learn. Grab a snack, maybe an apple like the one I'm munching on, and let's dive into this tale together. Ready? Here we go. Marcus's doctor visit, an English adventurite, was a radiant Saturday morning in my small town, where the sun cast golden rays through the leafy trees, painting the streets with dappled light. But I, Marcos, was feeling utterly miserable. My nose was so stuffy it seemed full of cotton, my throat scratched like sandpaper with every swallow, and I couldn't stop sneezing. Achoo! Each sneeze echoed through my small apartment, startling my tabby cat, Luna, who gave me a curious glance from her perch on the windowsill. I groaned, rubbing my temples, and thought, this is no way to spend a weekend. I need to see a doctor. Determined to feel better, I put on my favorite blue baseball cap, its faded brim a reminder of countless sunny days, grabbed my trusty water bottle, and set off for the clinic down the street. As I stepped outside, the air was crisp and carried the sweet scent of blooming jasmine from a neighbor's garden. Despite the sneezes, the freshness lifted my spirits. Though my nerves buzzed with the thought of speaking English at the clinic, I wasn't fluent, but I was ready to try. The walk to the clinic was short but vibrant. The town was alive with Saturday morning energy. Kids zipped by on scooters, their laughter echoing, while vendors at the nearby market called out prices for fresh mangoes and avocados. I clutched my water bottle, taking small sips to soothe my throat, and practiced a few phrases in my head. I'm sick. I need a doctor. My English wasn't perfect, but I've been practicing with online videos and my notebook full of new words. The clinic came into view, a small building with a bright green awning and a sign that read Sunshine Family Clinic. My stomach fluttered with nerves, but I took a deep breath, inhaling the scent of freshly cut grass from the lawn, and walked inside, determined to face both my cold and my language fears. Tip: when you're nervous about speaking a new language, practice simple phrases like I need help or I'm sick. Say them out loud a few times to build confidence before using them inside. The waiting room was a burst of color and life. The walls were painted a cheerful yellow, decorated with posters about healthy eating and exercise. Red plastic chairs lined the room, and a large fish tank bubbled softly in the corner, filled with vibrant fish swimming among corals and seaweed. A group of kids played with colorful blocks in one corner, laughing as they built wobbly towers, while adults flipped through magazines or scrolled on their phones. The atmosphere was warm, almost festive, despite the reason we were all there. I approached the front desk, where a kind lady with round glasses and a name tag reading Clara greeted me with a smile. Hello, I said, my voice a bit shaky. I'm Marcos. I'm sick. Clara's eyes sparkled with warmth as she replied, Welcome, Marcos. The doctor will see you soon. Please fill out this form. She handed me a clipboard with a simple form, and I sat down, feeling a small surge of pride for managing the interaction in English. As I filled out my name and symptoms, I watched the fish in the tank, their graceful movements calming my nerves. A bright blue fish caught my eye, and I decided to call it Azul in my head. A little game to keep myself distracted. Tip: naming things around you, like blue fish or red chair, in English can make learning fun and help you remember new words. Try it in any waiting room. A nurse in bright purple scrubs called my name, Marcos. I stood, adjusting my cap, and followed her down a hallway adorned with drawings from local school kids' stick figures of doctors and smiling suns. She led me to a small examination room with a cushioned bed, a sink, and a large chart of the human body on the wall, its colorful lines tracing muscles and bones. The nurse, whose name tag read Sophia, had a gentle voice as she asked, What's wrong, Marcos? I took a deep breath and said, My nose is stuffy, and I sneeze a lot. My throat hurts too. She nodded, jotting notes on a clipboard, and placed a thermometer on my forehead. It was cold, making me shiver slightly, and I sneezed again. Achoo. Sophia chuckled softly and said, "Bless you. The doctor will be here soon." Her kindness eased my nerves, and I felt a spark of excitement about using English. Even if I stumbled over some words. Tip: don't worry if you sneeze or stumble while speaking. Just keep going. Simple words like nose, throat, or sneeze are enough to get your point across. Moments later, the door opened, and in walked Dr. Lee, a tall man with a friendly smile and a stethoscope draped around his neck. "Hi, Marcos. I'm Dr. Lee. What's the problem today?" he asked, his voice warm and encouraging. I swallowed hard, my throat still scratchy, and said, "I sneeze a lot, my throat hurts, and I feel tired." I was proud of myself for stringing the sentence together, even with my thick accent. Dr. Lee nodded thoughtfully, his eyes focused as he listened. "Let's figure this out together," he said, making me feel like a partner in solving a puzzle. He asked more questions. "Do you have a fever? Any cough?" I replied, "No fever, but I cough sometimes." He picked up his stethoscope, its metal disc gleaming under the room's bright lights, and said, "Breathe in, breathe out." I followed his instructions. The room quiet except for the soft whoosh of my breath. The stethoscope felt cold and ticklish against my chest, and I couldn't help but giggle, which made Dr. Lee smile. Tip: words like hurts, sick, or tired are simple but powerful when talking to a doctor. Practice them in sentences like "my head hurts" to feel more prepared. Next, Dr. Lee grabbed a wooden tongue depressor and said, "Say ah." I opened my mouth, but instead of ah, I sneezed. Achoo. The sound was so ridiculous. Then I burst out laughing, and Dr. Lee joined in, his laughter filling the room. "That's a new one," he said, his eyes twinkling. The clinic smelled of clean soap and antiseptic, a comforting scent that made the space feel safe. I felt my nerves melt away, replaced by a sense of connection, laughing at my mistake made. The moment later, and I realized that speaking English could be fun, even when I wasn't perfect. Tip: mistakes are part of learning. If you say something funny, like achoo instead of ah, laugh it off and try again. Repeating new words out loud helps you remember them. Dr. Lee continued the exam, shining a small flashlight into my ears. "Your ears look fine," he said, then asked, "Do you drink plenty of water? Do you sleep well?" I admitted, "I drink water, but I don't sleep much because I study English late at night." He raised an eyebrow and said, "Sleep is your body's best medicine. Try to rest more." I nodded, mentally noting sleep well. The room's bright lights and clean white walls made everything feel hopeful, like I was already on the path to feeling better. After a moment of thought, Dr. Lee said, "I think you have a common cold. It makes you sneeze, feel tired, and gives you a sore throat." His explanation was clear, and I felt a rush of understanding. He handed me a piece of paper with a list: drink plenty of water, rest, eat fruits like apples or oranges, and avoid cold drinks. "I love apples," I said, grinning. Dr. Lee's face lit up. "Apples are great. Keep eating them." His encouragement made me feel like we were friends, not just doctor and patient. I tucked the list into my pocket, determined to follow it. Tip: learn useful words like cold, rest, and fruit. Try sentences like "I eat fruit every day" to practice speaking naturally. Dr. Lee handed me a small bottle of nasal spray, its nozzle looking like a tiny spaceship. "Use this twice a day," he instructed. Confused, I asked, "Spray in my mouth?" He laughed heartily and said, "No, in your nose." Like this, he mimed spraying it, and I giggled at my mistake, feeling silly but happy. The bottle was small enough to fit in my palm, and I was curious to try it. Later, at home, the spray tickled my nose, but it helped clear the stuffiness, making it easier to breathe. At the front desk, I approached Claire again to pay. "How much is it?" I asked, proud of forming the question. She smiled and said, "It's $20, Marcos." I handed her the cash, saying, "Thank you." Her eyes softened as she replied, "Get well soon, Marcos." The phrase "get well soon" stuck with me. It was kind and easy to say. The waiting room was still bustling, with a new family arriving. their toddler clutching a stuffed bear. I felt a sense of belonging in that lively place. Tip: phrases like get well soon or thank you are perfect for showing kindness. Write them down and practice saying them to friends or family. As I left the clinic, I noticed a little girl in the waiting room, her eyes wide with worry as she clung to her mother's hand. She reminded me of myself when I was younger, nervous about doctor visits. I crouched down and said, "Don't worry, the doctor is nice." My English was simple, but her shy smile warmed my heart. Her mother nodded gratefully, and I stood up, feeling a surge of pride. Using English to help someone, even in a small way, made me feel stronger. Outside, the sun was still high, its warmth wrapping around me like a hug. I sneezed again, achoo, but it didn't bother me as much. I had my nasal spray, Dr. Lee's advice, and a handful of new English words. The walk home was slower, as I took in the sights and sounds of my town. A street musician strummed a guitar, filling the air with a cheerful melody. While kids chased a soccer ball in a small park, I sipped from my water bottle, thinking about how learning English was like recovering from a cold. It required patience, but each step was rewarding. I repeated my new words under my breath: sick, doctor, nose, rest. Each one felt like a small victory. Tip: try speaking to someone new in English, even with simple words. A small conversation can boost your confidence and brighten someone's day. At home, I kicked off my shoes and sank onto the couch, the soft cushions welcoming me. Luna, my cat, jumped up and curled beside me, her purrs vibrating against my arm. I grabbed an apple from the kitchen counter, its crisp bite and sweet juice instantly refreshing. "Luna," I said, scratching her ears, "I'm learning English and getting better." She meowed as if in agreement, and I laughed, the sound echoing in my cozy living room. Following Dr. Lee's advice, I decided to rest. I pulled a blanket over me, the soft fabric smelling faintly of lavender, and closed my eyes for a quick nap. The world outside faded, replaced by the quiet comfort of home. Later, I grabbed my notebook, a small spiral-bound one I kept on my coffee table, and wrote down my new words: sick, doctor, nose, rest, throat, breathe, and spray. I practiced saying them aloud, my voice growing steadier with each repetition. "I'm sick," I said. Then, "get well soon." Luna tilted her head, her green eyes watching me curiously. The room was quiet except for her purring and the distant hum of a neighbor's lawnmower. Writing and speaking the words made them stick, and I felt a spark of excitement about my progress. Tip: keep a notebook for new words and say them out loud. Pair them with actions, like writing apple while eating one, to make them memorable. The next morning, I woke feeling a bit better. My nose was less stuffy, and I only sneezed once. Progress. I used the nasal spray, giggling at the ticklish sensation, and ate another apple for breakfast. The kitchen smelled of coffee and fruit, a comforting start to the day. I thought about the clinic, Clara's warm smile, Sophia's gentle voice, and Dr. Lee's patience. Their kindness motivated me to keep learning English, even when it felt hard. To practice, I turned on an English cartoon about a talking dog who solved mysteries. The characters used simple phrases like "I'm sick" and "feel better." I repeated after them, mimicking their cheerful tones. The bright colors and silly voices made me laugh, and I even said achoo like the dog when he pretended to sneeze. Tip: watch English cartoons with subtitles to learn simple phrases. Repeat what the characters say to practice pronunciation, and have fun. By the third day, I was almost back to normal. My throat barely hurt, and my energy was returning. I decided to visit the park, craving fresh air and sunshine. The park was alive with activity. Kids swung on swings, dogs chased frisbees, and an ice cream truck played a jingly tune. I sat on a bench, feeling the warm sun on my face, and practiced my English by describing the scene. The kids play, the dogs run, the sun shines. Each sentence felt like a small triumph. A friend, Sarah, spotted me and jogged over, her ponytail bouncing. "Marcos, you look better," she said. I grinned and replied, "I went to the doctor. I had a cold." She clapped her hands. "Wow, Your English is getting so good." Her praise made my chest swell with pride. We chatted about the clinic, and I told her about Dr. Lee and the nasal spray. Sitting there, with birds chirping and a soft breeze rustling the trees, I realized learning English was like a game. Each new word made me stronger. Tip: share your experiences in English with friends. Even a short story, like "I went to the doctor," can build confidence and spark fun conversations. That evening, I added more words to my notebook: breathe, throat, spray, and park. I practiced sentences like "the doctor is nice and I feel better." Luna watched from her favorite spot on the couch, her tail flicking as if she approved. "Luna, I'm a good student," I said, laughing as she meowed back. The room smelled faintly of apples, a reminder of Dr. Lee's advice. I opened my window, letting in the cool night air, and felt a deep sense of accomplishment. My visit to the doctor was more than a health check. It was an adventure in learning, filled with kind people, new words, and even a few laughs. Over the next week, I kept practicing. I joined an English conversation group at the local library, a cozy space with wooden shelves and colorful posters. The group was small but lively, with people from all over Brazil, Mexico, even Japan. We practiced phrases like "How are you?" and "What's your favorite food?" I shared my clinic story, stumbling over some words but earning smiles and nods. A woman, Maria from Colombia, said, "Marcos, you're brave for speaking." Her words felt like a medal. We laughed over shared stories of language mix-ups, like when I said "spray" in my mouth to Dr. Lee. The library smelled of old books and coffee, and I left each meeting buzzing with excitement. Tip: join a conversation group to practice English. Even if you make mistakes, the support of others will make learning feel like a team effort. Back at home, I started writing short stories in my notebook, inspired by my clinic visit. One was about a boy who sneezed so loudly he woke a sleeping dragon. Silly, but it made me laugh as I practiced words like dragon, loud, and wake. I read them to Luna, who seemed unimpressed but stayed close, her warmth comforting me. I also tried cooking a new recipe in English, following a video for chicken soup, which Dr. Lee had mentioned was good for colds. The kitchen filled with the savory aroma of herbs and broth, and I learned words like chop, boil, and stir. Each new word felt like a step toward fluency, and each meal or story brought me closer to my goal. Tip: write short, fun stories in English. To practice new words, read them aloud to a pet or friend to make it interactive and memorable. As the days passed, my cold faded completely, but my enthusiasm for English grew stronger. I started noticing English everywhere, on signs and songs, even on the labels of my favorite snacks. At the grocery store, I read orange juice and whole grain bread aloud, earning a curious look from a cashier. I smiled and said, "I'm learning English." She grinned back and said, "Keep it up." Those small interactions felt like many adventures, each one building my confidence. I even began dreaming in English, simple dreams, like ordering coffee or chatting with Dr. Lee, but they made me wake up smiling. One afternoon, I returned to the clinic for a follow-up. Clara greeted me with her familiar warm smile. "Marcos, you look healthy," she said. I beamed and replied, "I feel better, thank you." Dr. Lee was just as friendly, checking my throat and ears again. "You're all clear," he said, "and your English is improving." I laughed, telling him about my conversation group and cartoons. He nodded approvingly and said, "Keep practicing. You're doing great." Leaving the clinic, I felt like I'd conquered more than just a cold. I'd taken big steps in my English journey. Tip: celebrate small wins, like understanding a new word or finishing a conversation. Each step makes you stronger, just like recovering from a cold. My doctor visit taught me so much more than how to fight a cold. It showed me that learning English is about courage, laughter, and connection. Every mistake, like sneezing instead of saying "ah," was a chance to grow. The clinic's bright lights, the smell of soap, and the kindness of Clara, Sophia, and Dr. Lee made it unforgettable. I felt ready for more adventures, whether at the park, the library, or even the grocery store. Each new word was a key to a bigger world. I hope my story inspires you to dive into learning English, no matter your age or where you start. Try simple sentences like I feel happy or I like to learn. Write them, say them, share them. Every word is a victory, and every mistake is a lesson. I'm cheering for you, just like Dr. Lee and the clinic staff cheered for me. Let's keep practicing, make more mistakes, and create awesome stories together.